their two main players.
That's it. This series has just gotten incredibly tight.
All right, welcome back. Whitlock and Wiley, Jim Jackson and Rick Bucher are back. Time now for a big story. Let's move to Oracle Arena, where the Rockets-Warriors series will resume with Game 5 tonight. The Rockets couldn't steal a win last time. They were on the Warriors' home court, but they climbed back into the series with two gutsy wins at home, and it looks like they've got things trending in the right direction. With big jumps in scoring and offensive rebounds in the last two games, as well as some improved shooting. Also important to note, Houston won both regular season games at Oracle this year, leading me to Houston's going to take control of this series. Tonight.
Well, you know what's going to happen tonight? I hate to say it, man, but you want to go off of what happened in the regular season? I want to go off what happens in the postseason when they're at Oracle. And in the last 5 years, you know how many games Houston has won in Oracle?
Preach.
1 in 10. You heard that? Tonight, 1 in 10. Suckers can't win in Oracle in the postseason, so I was going to come out here and get paid off a hunch, but I said, you know what, let me do some homework. And my homework told me that this team cannot travel and bring this same team on the road. We saw in the first two games. Where's the toughness? Where's the energy? And then we said, oh, they hit the switch because they went home, and the the contusions, and now they're ready. Guess what happens when they get on that flight, on that bird, and when they land in Oracle? Same old fate. I think Houston takes a L tonight.
The role players have had a big influence on how each of these games has gone, and the role players generally, traditionally play better at home. This is my one reason why I believe there's a chance for you to be right, is that the Warriors are not relying on role players. In this series especially, they are getting, in Game 3, they got 38 minutes out of their bench. In Game 4, it was in the 40s. They are riding their starting five, their best five, hard. And we're now going every other day with games. It's not back-to-back, but it's still the recovery period for Steph Curry playing 40-some minutes, Andre Iguodala playing nearly 40 minutes. I believe that as this series goes on, and tonight might be the tipping point, where the energy level, which was missing. I was at games 1 and 2. I will be there tonight. I was disappointed in how the Rockets played because I thought they could play a lot harder than they did, especially in Game 1. But I wonder if they can take that. They understand, look, we can beat these guys off the dribble. We can be aggressive and get where we need to go. If they take that lesson from Game 4 to Game 5, then something might just happen tonight.
It'll be interesting to see, to me, we talked about just the game planning-wise for Golden State at the beginning, to see exactly what the plan of attack is. Because this Golden State team, especially at home, you see the point differential for Houston, 15-plus points at home.
Yeah.
So Golden State, how they attack Houston, to me, is going to be very important. Is it off the dribble? Are they trying to get into the paint, getting the ball up quickly? But yet, Houston has an outside shot because Chris Paul really hasn't played well yet. If Chris Paul utilizes, and this goes back to Mike D'Antoni too, allows Chris Paul to be Chris Paul, put the ball in his hands even when James Harden is on the floor, allow Chris to kind of navigate a little bit more early, okay, in the game to get his rhythm, because Chris is so essential to what they do in the pick and roll and their half-court set that I think he can be a difference maker if he's involved early. If you put him on the side and just space him, then Chris is just there. Yeah. But to me, Chris has to have a bigger game, I think, on the road. Because you talked about the role players not playing extremely well on the road. Chris is not a role player.
No.
Chris is the general on the court. So he has to have a good game in order for Houston to walk out of here with that dub you talking about they go get.
Look, I would prefer Golden State to win. But I just think something has gone on with James Harden, and he's activated. He's going to legitimize his MVP trophies, and he's tired. Everybody, KD is the best player in the league, and KD is. But I think James Harden in this moment, people kind of laughed at him with, flopper and all this other stuff, and did his eyes really get hurt? People, idiots like me, question that. And I think this team, James Harden, has taken on a different identity, and I think you're going to see P.J. Tucker do it again with 12 or 13 rebounds, 6 or 7 offensive rebounds, outplay Draymond Green, who's not playing poorly, but P.J. Tucker is playing better. I just don't think the Rockets have to do anything special. They were in both games in 1 and 2. I don't think they had to do anything special to win tonight.
They don't have to do anything special, but they have to do something extra to make up for the fact that they had their issues in Oracle. So 7 consecutive games, 6 points or fewer, all close, right? No matter who wins, it's going to be close. And you brought up the greatest point, Chris Paul. And we know Chris Paul, in his mind, is a 1A alpha dog. But on this team, you can't be. James Harden is there. So I wonder, because they even highlighted a package of Chris Paul when he is with the ball and James Harden is disengaged. Like, what are you doing? So is it being coached out of Chris Paul to be the 2? Or is it being taken out of Chris Paul by James Harden and his body language? Because that's what you're seeing. And that's, if they don't get something extra, if they don't get their Chris Paul we know, they're not going to win.
Or does Chris Paul still have the ability to dominate in that way? Because I have seen him at times drive and get into the paint and then pick up his dribble and get stuck in ways that I've never seen Chris Paul get stuck before. But I will say this, when I look at the makeup of a Chris Paul, and I look at the importance of this particular game in this series, this is the time that Chris Paul says, oh, you forgot about me, and I'm going to come and show you. This, if there's ever a time, if Chris Paul still has it in his bag to be the player we've seen him be, he's going to recognize that this is the game on the road where we were in the game, games 1 and game 2. He missed threes, James missed threes, but we were right there. I'm not going to let that happen again because I don't want to have happen what happened last
This is where I disagree with you. I just don't think Chris Paul can play poorly and they can still win. He can play poorly and they can still win.
I can't see that.
Because James Harden and Eric Gordon are going to do enough offensively. And then while you throw in the intangibles that P.J. Tucker, again, he didn't play that well in these last 2 games and they won. And so I just don't think, one of the reasons why James Harden's sitting off on the side is like, hey, bro, we really don't need you right now.
Well, I think too, back home, I think Draymond is going to have more of an effective game and impact on this game at home, okay? I really do. You look at Steph and Durant, they're going to get this. I think Clay, now you talk about, okay, you talk about Eric Gordon and Harden. Okay, we got Steph and we got Durant. Cancel those 2. Right. Those 2 cancel each other out. I think where the game is going to be won is those people we talked about. I think Chris Paul has to be integral in there because I think they're going to figure out a way early in the game to get Clay more involved. You watch him come off screens early in the game. Watch him try to post up Chris Paul early.
Get him involved, he got to make the shot.
But that's okay. I think the point is to, coaches know their players. Players know their teammates, okay? They know exactly how to get guys involved early because when they're going to need Clay, it's not in the first quarter, it's in the fourth quarter when things are tough. So they got to get him going early.
Don't you think he's been missing good shots, though?
Oh, he's been missing good shots because as a player, when I'm standing on the sideline and I'm not involved, mentally I'm not engaged. So when I do get a shot, I'm not as tied in as I was.
And I can't wait to get
it up. And I can't wait to get it up. So that's why you go to him early in that first quarter to keep him engaged. So when you need him in the fourth, he's ready to go.
We're talking all offensive numbers
of course.
And roles for the most part. But to me, the attrition is going to be at the defensive end.
For Golden State.
Steph Curry being out there for 43 minutes and having to defend. And that's where Chris Paul does have to be aggressive. Because wherever the matchups are, you need, if he's on Steph, I got to go. And if James is on him, I got to go. The problem that I had in games 1 and 2 in Oracle was the fact that they messed around too much. They waited too long into the clock. Keep it moving. Keep the pressure on Golden State because they're playing a short bench. And this, you may not win it in the first or second quarter, but come the fourth quarter, I just look at the Warriors defensively, and to me, that's where they are vulnerable.
Well, let's balance the math out and keep it simple for you, Whitlock. If Chris Paul can be a difference, but Clay and Steph combined 5 for 20 in game 4, that's not happening again. So 25% shooting from those guys is not happening again. So even if we get more Chris Paul, you're going to get more Clay and Steph, whatever the combination may be. So Chris Paul's sitting there saying, this is my moment. And he needs a legacy moment in terms of playoff success. Let's go back to the Clipper years because of injuries, costly turnovers, mistakes. And then you get to last year, whatever you want to say, the hamstring. Like, there's a lot. You talk about a monkey on your back in terms of erasing it in your legacy play. This is a moment for Chris Paul.
All right, coming up, looks like LeBron wants to make a splash with a big-name coaching hire. We'll tell you why it might be exactly what the Lakers need. Eric!